call to order this meeting of the Chippewa County Board of Commissioners. As always, we start off with a pledge of allegiance. Commissioner Egan, why don't you start us off with a pledge?
Me? Oh. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I thought you were just pausing for dramatic effect.
No, I'm not that cool. I promise.
Will the clerk please take roll call attendance?
Commissioner Egan.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Martin.
Present.
Commissioner McLean.
Here.
And Chairman Shackleton.
Here, we're all here. Additions, deletions, and agenda approval is item 4. Any additions or deletions?
Move approval is presented. Support.
Motion made to approve the agenda as presented to this evening. Is there any discussion on that motion? All in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed vote nay. Motion carries. We move to the approval of the county board minutes, regular board meeting of July 14th, 2016. It is on page 1 of your packet.
I move approval of the minutes of the July 14, 2016.
And support?
Motion is made to approve those minutes of the July board meeting. Any discussion? All in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed vote nay. Motion carries. Correspondence received in the clerk's office is on page 11. Let's see what we have. Yep, as usual, a variety of correspondence.
I move we send those to the appropriate places.
Support that.
Motion made and supported that we acknowledge correspondence received and forward as appropriate. Is there any discussion? All in favor vote aye. Opposed vote nay. Motion carries. We move to public comment portion of our agenda. Anybody who'd like to speak under public comments, this is your opportunity. Who wants to go first? Doesn't matter. You all have time.
Whatever you want.
Huh? You don't want to?
I don't want to, I mean,
Well, go ahead. Well, you don't have to.
I got to. I promised them kids in prison I would.
Okay.
Okay.
John, excuse me, John. During in between the two meetings, Mr. Lechner wanted to pass out this paper that you have in front of you, and I told him, sure, just go ahead and leave them at each of the commissioners' seats. So that's why it's in front of you right now. Back to you.
Thank you. Back in the spring of 2011, I was working there at Quality Motel. My son had bought part of that. And this guy named Pages, Kevin Pages, he came in, and I had done some work for Kevin Pages before, and he's a good person, I think. Well, he come in there one day and he said, John, I gotta tell you this. He said, this Ron Carrick, I don't know if I spelled his name right, I'm sure he did. But anyhow, he came to me and he said, John, now Pages must have done something wrong. But anyhow, he was going to give Pages some pills, and Pages was going to give me these pills, and I was supposed to hand them to a third person, which I would have done, you know, because I didn't know any better. And he says, I said, well, why would that matter? He said, well, Carrick said, we'll take care of it from there. You just do that. And I said, well, what did you tell him? He said, I told him I'd think about it. He said, no, I'm telling you, they're after you. And I said, well, what can they do to me? I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't drugs, I don't gamble, I don't do nothing. I don't even go to night. So anyhow, here I am 5 years later getting out of prison now. So he said, I told him I'd think about it, I'm telling you. Okay, well, of course it never happened. But I just want you to know, and I don't think anybody's going to do anything to this Deputy Carrick, but I want you to know it could happen to anybody, because it almost happened to me. How would I know that, you know, at that time I didn't know that this was illegal. Okay, that's all I got on this Carrick. I wouldn't even know him to see him, but he wanted to impress somebody, I think. Now, this here is from May 27th, 2011, in UO, that's Uniformed Officer requested Deputy Mitchell respond to the post. Deputy Mitchell stated both Lechners were upset about the removal of the excavator, which is just a complete lie. I mean, we laughed about it. We're going to, what's going on? I told Mark, I said, Mark, I don't even wanna go in there. He said, don't be afraid all your life, go on and pull in there. He said, I'll talk to him. So Deputy Mitchell and Erickson had determined that they would block the entrance to Merle's Towing while the excavator was being offloaded to prevent interference by the Leckners. What interference? So who had followed them from Riverside Drive to the lot? Deputy Mitchell stated he moved his patrol car unit to block off the entrance to Merle's Towing. He stated he was stopped and had emergency activated when John Leckner drove past him from his patrol car and hit his car, leaving a white mark on the bumper from the paint on Leckner's car. Deputy Mitchell replayed the in-car video file of the incidents for me. The video showed Deputy Mitchell's patrol car moved in to close the western entrance of Merle's Towing. The patrol car unit is stopped for about 4 seconds when Leckner's vehicle drives past from right to left, entering the lot. The patrol unit emergency lights were activated at the time Leckner's vehicle drove past the front of the unit. Leckner's vehicle was moving at a speed which should have afforded him ample opportunity to stop to avoid the collision with the patrol unit. Now this is written up by Trooper Bergsma. That was May 27th. Here's June 3rd. UO does have an in-car camera system that was on at the time of John Leckner hitting the UO's patrol vehicle. The video will be burnt to a disk and sent to the prosecutor's office for review. That's June 3rd. June 3rd, they're still planning to send a copy of now this is my words, copy to the prosecutor. I want to know who wrote that. I don't have no idea who wrote this. And it says TOT, the prosecutor's office for review. TOT, I don't know what is TOT. Okay, now here's something that was wrote July 20th. On the night of the incident, that would be 5/26/5/27, May 26, May 27. You will return to the Chippewa County Sheriff's Office, CCSO, and download the in-car video from the incident. After the files were downloaded off the memory card, they were automatically deleted from the card. UO then attempted to burn a copy of the video to forward to the prosecutor's office. The UO attempted to burn a copy of the video using the Video Master program where the files are downloaded. UO was unsuccessful. UO was under the impression that once the files were downloaded to the Video Master, they could not be deleted. UO then copied the file to the desktop of the computer and attempted to burn a copy of the video using nitro burning software. UO was again unsuccessful and deleted the file off the desktop. UO then left a message for the Deputy Sergeant Postman to burn a copy of the video. When Deputy Sergeant Postman attempted to burn a copy, he could not find the file. Deputy Sergeant Postman then contacted UO and asked where was the video. UO then explained how he attempted to burn a copy and was unsuccessful. Transferred the file to the desktop, attempted to burn a copy using a different program and was unsuccessful, and finally deleted the file off the desktop. The IT office was contacted in an attempt to recover. IT must be the people that make the film, but they were unsuccessful. The memory card from UO in-car camera was sent to the camera company in an attempt to recover the video. All attempts were unsuccessful. Now this was written July 20th. This happened May 26, May 27. Well, it says that May 26, 27, the film was destroyed. But then yet just a minute ago, I read you June 3rd, and they're still going to send it to the prosecutor. So I think that film is still out there someplace. Now, why would Mitchell, this is another question I got, why would Mitchell be allowed to download his own film from his car when it was incriminating of him? Why would the UO be allowed to download evidence that might be incriminating to him? Well, it was incriminating.
John, we're at 6 minutes now.
Okay, I've only got one more sentence.
Just come close.
Yeah. Okay, go?
Yeah.
Okay. Evidence that might be incriminating to him. Where is the report from the night of the incident that was written on 7/20/11? Where is the Deputy Mitchell statement from 5/27? Well, anyhow, what I want you guys to do, I want you to just remember this stuff. The film was destroyed on 26/27. A week later, they're going to send it to the prosecutor for his review. A month later, they say that it was destroyed that night. It just, too many lies. Too many lies. Okay, and then, well, I got lots more. But anyhow, next month.
Okay,
Thanks.
you bet.
Thank you.
Anyone else under public comment? This is your opportunity. Come on up.
We're gonna need to start handing out those deli tickets to people.
Now serving?
Yeah, now serving,
number
yeah.
2.
I'm gonna drop these, I actually have to sneak out, so I'm gonna drop these off, just our Tree Farm Field Day.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. We
Oh,
can
no,
wait.
this is
No,
gonna
no,
be
we
it.
can wait. No.
Tree Farm Field Day that we would love to see you at if you're available, I think you got invitations in the mail as well, so.
Yes, we
Okay.
Thank you, sorry I have
Thanks,
another commitment
bye.
at 6, have a great night.
That's a determined person right there.
Yes.
It was not gonna, not be heard.
Hi,
Hi,
my name is Marilyn Morozic, and I'm the clerk for Rayber Township. And this is Terry Benoit, Jim Morozic, and Jim Trainer. We're all here on behalf of the township. We have kind of an issue that I'm not quite sure how to help my township with, because we were informed within the last 2 weeks that we were going to be having a sewage septic drop-off site right here in Rayber Township. It states in the laws that the township clerk has to be notified when the application goes into process. I was never notified. As a landowner adjacent from the property, I was not notified. I found out through Mr. Benoit that this was going on. I started getting kind of vicious emails and phone calls from irate residents wondering why I was helping this company sneak this in to our township. I was never notified. I met with the DEQ, Michigan DEQ, Mr. Wolf, and Scott Barr from the health department with the owner, what's his name?
Mark Kelly.
Mark Kelly from Drummond Island, who just purchased this piece of property. It states that there's supposed to be a year application of land, nutrient soil testing, all this stuff. He didn't even own the property. DEQ is telling them that this is already a done deal, that they're already going to be getting the permit to do this. We have 5 other septic collection places in Chippewa County alone. They have, how many acres, Jim?
Currently, there's 64 acres of licensed septic in Chippewa County.
Which are located nowhere near anybody's residence. This gentleman is building a home. For 13 years, I have watched him painstakingly manicure his property and buy other properties around him to build his retirement home. He lives here in the Sioux, as I did, and moved out to Rayber because we wanted peaceful living, country, pure air. And now all of a sudden, we've got a gentleman who purchases a piece of property. All of this stuff is already said and done. We have Michigan DEQ, who is vehemently advocating this gentleman's service, saying he's setting us up, he's doing us a favor by opening up a business because we have our own sewage and septic tanks. Well, for 100 years, we've all been figuring out where to get our sewage cleaned up out of our septic systems. And it's all done and hauled away, far, far away, where there is no people who are inhabiting the area. This piece of property is what, 20 acres?
20 acres.
And it's right off of the highway, right basically in his backyard, and a few other people who are adjoining it. Letters were supposed to have gone out to these people. Very few people received them. Very few.
One person did not, who was adjoining west of this property, did not receive a letter at all. His well is only 35 feet deep and roughly 100 feet from the property, and it's still all approved.
Yeah,
I was forced, my wife talked to the DEQ, Mr. Campbell in Lansing, and we were forced to buy a well permit and get a well permit in place because of an 800-foot setback. My 10 acres is 660 feet. I nourished that for 13 years. I just retired in January. My wife is gonna retire in maybe 5-6 years. I'm a builder. I'm gonna build my house. Last year, we just got electricity on the property. And all of a sudden, we get a letter stating, this is a done deal. My wife posted, not in my backyard, on the Gatesville website. Not even an hour later, I get a phone call from Kelly, wife of the proprietor, having me to talk to my wife to remove it immediately. She already has a complaint in on it. And I said, send me information. We don't know what it is.
We pulled up on the internet, new business, grand opening special, $275 per pump. Call today and get added to our list. Tri-County Septic, serving Chippewa, Mackinac, and Luce counties. Septic pumping and installation. Call Mark and Kelly today. Now, it says here up next to it, and this is on August 6th, when will you be able to start pumping? And it says they're telling us next week. I, as a resident, after complaining on the 27th, because I found out through him that they were going to be meeting there, I received August 1st a registered letter. Paul Warner, who is the supervisor, not the clerk, receives a not registered letter to my P.O. box as the township clerk, and I picked it up on the 1st. Now, I could have not delivered that to the township board and said, hey, we didn't receive anything at all. But I'm trying to be honest because I did receive it. And the person who is our new postmaster is also friends with these people. I want to know what it is that can be done so that I can help my residents in the township that I serve currently, because we were strong-held. This is going through. We haven't even had time set up so that we can let our residents, not just the people who are side by side to this piece of property, know that this is going on in our yard or in our community. We have always been known as God's country out there. We don't have a lot of farms. I mean, towards Stalwart, yes, but we don't have farms right here in Rayburn Township. It is basically residential, and people own a lot of acreage, so they're not bothered. And we're looking at it as a dump site for Newberry, Pickford, Gatesville, Rayburn, Cedarville, St. Angus, Drummond Island. Why do we have to have that in Rayburn Township when there's already suitable sites that are already erected for this?
We'll talk a little bit. During public comment, we usually don't get into a discussion.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, don't go away. But but let's just keep it as brief as we can. What I would suggest is that we put our county administrator to work to help.
I need help because I don't know what to tell these people.
So Mr. German, I think I think the board will certainly be supportive of asking him to give you some help. And Terry, we talked about contacting your state legislators.
I have. I did that all day today. I've been on the phone with Rick Snyder's office.
We're talking about.
Right, Mr. Wolf.
But they're now telling me in Rick Snyder's office to go with the DNR because we're all wetlands. Am I correct, Jim, in saying that? We're all wetlands, and this is the drought season that we're having right now. So when they tested this site, it was dry. All of us have high water tables, lift stations for our own personal sewage.
Yeah.
I'm
Go
going
ahead,
to throw Karen under the bus. That's the director of your Board of Health right there, and you should get together with her. If there's anybody in this room that can do something
that's a good
maybe
point.
immediately for you,
We'd like
it's
to
her.
Well,
to
I
see
was
if we
with
can-
Scott Barr there, and he was saying, well, can't you switch the crop growing from oats to corn so that you can utilize more of your land? Now, if this was me and doing a permit process, I'd be thrown right back to the beginning of the start line. This man has continuously fabricated his way along, and it still gets pushed through.
He is a representative of the DEQ, employee through the state of Michigan. Tuesday at the Rayburn Township meeting, it was like he was this septic service salesperson.
Yeah,
At one time, he told Mark Kelly, don't say nothing, I'll handle this.
They came in together, left together.
And this is a gentleman working for the DEQ for the state of Michigan. And with our first letter that we have, it was supposed to be a surface application where he could put up to 600,000 gallons of raw septic on the land and have 6 hours to till it over. Okay, then all of a sudden it came through the health department and that 3 acres of injection. Well, that is still 90,000 gallons. And Mr. Wolf kept on saying, oh, that's not a lot. You figure 1,000 per septic, so that's only 600 houses.
Let's just say that this land, and I have compliments of federal government, a beautiful map that shows where this is going. And no one in their right mind would put in this kind of a plant, just barely legal, and I'm talking barely legal, making the requirements in this residential area. And you're our district guy.
Yeah. Where is it located? Can you show me on that?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
We felt this was a hush and rush because it took exactly 13 days from the time we got the letter to the DEQ stated.
I thought there was
He's
a
approved. He's
30-day
approved.
window for.
They're supposed to be, but it was approved within 13 days. Okay, right here you can see, the purple circle is supposed to be the 800-foot setback.
Right. From the well.
Okay, from the well, and that's for
Where's
surface.
the property?
Right here where it
Okay,
says the 8.13 acres,
Okay.
and that is supposed to be
So that corner
injection.
falls in the parameter of the well.
Correct.
So he's got this little area that he can put it in.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I just,
And
My,
this is,
my property is these 10 right, this
Okay.
2.5 right there.
And that's
And my
mine.
house is supposed to go right there.
mother-in-law Mita Gates,
Mita Geyer.
Mita Geyer. That's what
Yes,
it
sir.
is. Geyer.
and these are all residences.
They're all
This is
residents.
me, this is him, and this, you know, I mean, it absolutely makes,
And we're banging our heads. There's
Yes.
nobody, you know, we would like to actually
I'll get together.
not to
Yeah,
get a
no, I'll get
permit
together with you
issued
guys
until
after
this
the
is resolved.
Right, so
Because once he
let's,
starts dumping,
yeah, I know.
it's over.
So, again, under public comment, let's at least resolve to do this. You got the health department here to help. Connor is ready to get involved with you. The administrator of the county, I believe the board will support me in directing him to assist you. So I think, you know, we hear you, we understand.
And my wife works
and
for
we'll-
regional planning.
And we'll help any way we can.
Go figure.
Okay. All right,
Okay if I add?
yeah, go ahead. Yep.
I'll keep it brief because they pretty much said everything already, but one of the things I wanna bring to the board that I think that you should be concerned about, as all of us are Chippewa County residents, this is something, Tri-County Septic, this is something where they're talking about bringing Luce County, Mackinac County septage into Chippewa County. Okay, Luce County and Mackinac County have licensed septage areas for wastewater, management areas to do that. So that's something to consider.
Yep.
So I wanna just make that, aware of it. Yes, I guess that's all I.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, we hear you. And, see if we can help. Move on, once again to public comments and see if there's anyone else. Yes, sir.
I'm a repeat visitor here. My name is Steve Welch, resident of Sioux Township. I live at 1498 East 3 Mile Road. Coming to you again with the same complaint about the speed limit on East 3 Mile. And today, my mission can be summed up very simply, is I'm trying to prevent the erection of small wooden crosses. And you see the small wooden crosses erected where there's a death on the highway. And you see the one for the young girl Kelsey, who was texting on Shunk Road. And then Janice McDonald, when she pulled out of Sunglow subdivision onto 3 Mile, was hit by a dump truck. And so I'm trying to prevent, kind of be proactive, to prevent the erection of small wooden crosses. That's what we're talking about. And a thing to think about is Shunk Road is a main feeder to and from Sioux Area High School. So you have high school students, new drivers that would frequent that road going across 3 Mile. So it would be horrific to have another young person and a cross erected for another young person just up the road from Kelsey's. So this is my mission. That's why I'm being proactive. I'm trying to tell everyone we have a problem. So to underscore this, I went and talked to my neighbors. It's a neighborhood because the houses are relatively close together. Do you see what I see? Do you experience what I experience? And I have with me a signed petition of all of the residents in the region just west of Shunk Road, where the houses begin, to Sunglow subdivision, with one exception, and that's a person, every time I go, they're not around, and I've gone there 6 times. Otherwise, if I've talked to them, they sign the petition, and they tell me their horror story. And I'll read the petition. And then I would like this as part of the public record. We, the undersigned, residents and property owners of property on East 3 Mile Road, approximately 1/2 mile west of Seymour Road, to the entrance of Sunglow subdivision, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, signed this petition to reduce the speed in the area of our property because of the following reasons. The current speed limit on East 3 Mile Road, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, is 45 miles per hour on the road in front of our properties. This speed limit has created great dangers and threats to residents, pedestrians, bikers, motorists, and also Amish buggies that sometimes use this road for travel. This area is in a residential zone, and the road has single lane traffic in both directions. This road is utilized by bicyclists, joggers, and for walking. Unfortunately, the current high speed limit in this area poses a grave danger to these people. A decrease in the current speed limit is also critical for the safety of local residents utilizing their driveways as a means of entering and exiting to and from 3 Mile Road. It is critically important to lower the speed limit on East 3 Mile Road. The purpose of this petition is to require the Chippewa County Commission to look into this issue and hopefully to initiate the process of determining a more reasonable and safe speed limit for our neighborhood. We would suggest that the current speed limit in this residential area be reduced from 45 miles per hour in this area to 35 miles per hour to improve our safety and quality of life in our residential neighborhood. So,
Okay, well,
that's all.
Thank you.
I think, if I might say that, Chippewa County doesn't set speed limits, the road commission does, and I would just take, I guess, the opportunity to say, I think your presentation might be more appropriately directed to the road commission, because they do set the speed limits.
Okay, last time I was here, I had the same presentation.
Yep.
Someone was supposed to notify someone from the sheriff's department and road commission, which in turn were supposed to contact me. And I never got contact.
Last night, what I recall was, we wasn't it state police? Cause the state police? Yeah, cause the state police, are also involved, and it was discussed a couple of times after, and I think one of the things they do when they set speed limits is they actually clock the average speed of cars down a road and say the average speed is what the speed limit should be. Now, a lot of people don't agree with that, but that is a standard way of setting speed limits. And I understand, cars go by my house really fast too, but all I can tell you is, we can take your petition for you and forward it to the county road commission. Happy to do that. But the county road commission and I believe the state police are gonna have more ability to address your issue than the county.
Okay.
This board.
Okay, so county road commission, talk to them.
Would you, Connor?
No, I just was setting down my phone.
Okay.
I remember this was my first meeting as a commissioner, and it's still one of those things that that bothers me that I have no actual means of helping you.
Okay.
I understand that it is a concern for the safety of you and other individuals living on that road. I frequent that road, and it is a dangerous road. And as a truck driver myself, slower speed limits are never really a bad thing, especially when you have residences and blind driveways the way you do.
Right. So the route, like, I'll address who I need to
And
address.
don't we have a city issue too?
No, so it's at the city limits. Just on the other side.
2014. So we did communicate your concerns in 2014, the road commission. And I'm sure the administrator's office will help you with, when the next meeting is.
Okay.
They are public meetings. You
Right.
can make the same presentation to them,
Okay,
but they can actually act on it if they choose to, where we can't.
Okay.
The board just doesn't set speed limits.
okay, cause I just,
Yeah, that's fine,
It's
you
knowing
but-
where to start.
Well, and it's not a bad place to start, cause we can
Yeah.
direct you to the right spot.
Okay,
So, and
we
again,
also help-
usually in public comment, we don't, do a lot of discussion, and I apologize for breaking that precedent as much as we have today, but I wanna be able to just give you the information in a quick manner and say,
and that's
This-
helpful.
this would
Thank
be
you.
the way to go.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, the road
Thanks.
commission can establish, they can put a sign up that says 40 mile an hour, but it's not enforceable. We just put one up, we're putting one up out by, the Whitefish Chippewa County line. And they're putting, slow children at play, and they'll put a sign on that says 40 mile an hour. It's suggested speed, but it is not enforceable because it isn't approved by the state.
Okay, all right, I'm trying to work through this
Yeah.
situation. Thank you for your time.
Do we know when the next road commission meeting is? Can we
Anybody
give
know
them
off the
that
top of their head?
information at least?
It's a Thursday.
Probably, is it posted, you can probably pull it up on your phone.
Yeah,
You'll speak to Kelly right and back, she can.
yeah, I talked to her briefly, so,
Okay, she'll hook you
Yeah. got her, thanks.
All right,
Thanks for your time.
thank you though for letting us know about your concerns. Under public comments, anybody else wanna speak? John, you already talked, man.
Yeah, but I don't get no respect. I mean, these other people get to talk and you talk to them. What am I? I'm a convicted terrorist.
John, I let you speak for a long time. I let you speak longer all the time.
Okay, this was completely separate. There was a girl died last night of an overdose. These idiots, 31 idiots, making $250,000 a year, costing the government, costing us $250,000 a year. 31 of them followed me around for, like, say, 6 months. So just imagine how much millions that was. Put me in prison for what? Did I ever hurt anybody in my life that ever think about hurting anybody in my life? No. You gotta spend money on these kids. Don't worry about me. I ain't gonna hurt nobody. I never hurt nobody in my life. I had explosives. All you would've had to do, any one of you guys say, Lechner, you got explosives left over from your 3 rock quarries. These guys testified they didn't know why I had all this explosives. I had a target somewhere, and somebody even said it was Tower District. All of it's lies. All the stuff I showed you was lies. The stuff there from that Bruce Wagner about me and Mark flying back and forth to Cuba, lies. Nobody flies to Cuba. We flew to Canada one time in my life. I'm 70 years old. So, I mean, it's not something I do regularly. But anyhow, thank you so much. I won't bother you for another month.
Okay. Anyone else under public comment? All right. I think that may have been the longest public comment we've ever had. So- We move to the administrator's report. Administrator German.
You'll see the, usual reports, that are normally there under the monthly reports. And under correspondence, you'll know a county resolution on dark stores, which I think we're a step ahead on. Also, a very special letter for Missy Robbins from Mr. Hines. I think he hits the nail on the head, and, my hat is off for the job that Missy is doing out there. Couldn't have asked for a better choice. Also, just to make everyone aware, the Attorney General's opinion was sent to, the Attorney General's opinion on Michigan Works unfunded liabilities was sent to Senator Casperson and Representative Chatfield today. All the counties did not have any major changes to it. I will say, legal budget this year, and I don't know if we'll probably have to come back with the commission for a budget adjustment. Also, the state has awarded us a 2-month extension with judges due to one judge's illness. We had somebody come in for 3 months, which is almost up at the end of August, and they've awarded us 2 more months, which will save the county some money. And last thing, more leaks in the jail, starting today, and they're ripping apart walls as we speak, and we're taking care of the problem, and that's all I have, sir.
Alright,
Is that plumbing leak or a roof leak?
you find out when you rip the wall apart.
I mean, is that it?
There is water in the blocks up so high, we don't understand how it could be a roofing leak. It was suggested, but we're pretty sure it's a plumbing leak, and they're ripping the wall back to find out where it was coming in.
Contractors involved in this?
Albert is doing it right now, it was an emergency situation, so,
I mean, the guy that built the place.
well, there was different contractors when I
But
was.
was this the old, was this the last one we did?
Right, it's right where it cuts off, so I can't answer for sure, but I will get you.
Well, you know, if it was something that was created when we did the last renovation, I'd get all over those people. I mean, this is ridiculous that we would have that happen, and we're not gonna, we shouldn't have to bite the bullet on it.
Got a couple problems with that.
Alright, move to, item 9, old business, there's none itemized under old business, so we will move to new business. One is a letter of support, the Sault Ste. Marie, Tribe of Chippewa Indians Elder Service Division for the Elder Meal Program Grant through UPCAP. It is on page 32, and we need to either approve, disapprove, and of course can discuss.
I'd move, the letter of support for the Sioux Tribe relative to the senior and elder meals and the through UPCAP program grant.
I'll support.
Motion is made and supported, is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
If you're opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We move to the Board of Canvassers appointment approval. This is on page 35. We have a memo from the clerk that there's 3 names qualified to serve on the board: Ben Duff, Scott Nason, and Tim Ellis. And Kathy, our clerk, I presume you are recommending that we approve this?
Actually, the statute states that I approve somebody, and I was just letting you know that who I approved and who's sitting on the board in place of Anthony Stackpole.
So do we need to take any action on it at all?
Not really, no.
Then we go on to number 11, standing committee reports. Finance, claims, and accounts, Commissioner Martin.
Regular meeting, the Chippewa County Board of Commissioners Finance Claims and Account Committee was called to order on Monday, August 8th, 2016, Chippewa County Courthouse at 2 p.m. with a quorum present. Myself, Commissioner Shackleton, Commissioner McLean, and Commissioner Johnson were in attendance. Commissioner Egan was absent. Jim German, Sharon Kennedy, Tina Ojala, Paul Stanaway, Michelle Robbins, Mike Bittner, Kelly Church, Brian Bartlett, Jenny Pierce, and Margie Hank were also present. If we approve the agenda on a voice vote, that motion carried. There was no public comment. We received monthly travel reports and visa billing statements, along with a letter from ASI's Mike Bradley regarding county software and MERS quarterly reports. Agenda items. We had CHC come in with a renewal. Administrator German was good enough to negotiate a lower rate of I believe 2.5 versus 3.5. Consequently, it was happily moved by Commissioner Shackleton and supported by Commissioner Johnson to approve that renewal of the Correctional Inmate Healthcare Services contract for October 3rd, 2016 through October 2nd, 2017, an increase of 2.5% as opposed to 3.5%, which comes to $190,638.56 annually. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported that we approve the renewal of the Correctional Inmate Healthcare Services contract. Is there discussion on the motion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
We also looked at employee short-term disability, long-term disability, and life insurance with 44 North, with the only increase being 0.41% to 0.45% of the insured earnings, which was approximately $200 per month increase, going with the Medicare Advantage with 44 North by way of Don Wilson Agency. The committee requested that we approve this, so it was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Johnson, to approve an authorized renewal of 44 North for fiscal year 2017, including employee benefits, short-term disability, long-term disability, life insurance, and healthcare insurance. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Motion made and supported to approve an authorized renewal with 44 North for FY 17. Is there discussion on the motion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Next, medical examiner traveled to Marquette to attend a meeting on forensic pathology needs for the Upper Peninsula. Moved by Commissioner Johnson, supported by Commissioner McLean, to authorize travel to Marquette for the medical examiner on September 6th and 7th, 2017. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported to authorize that travel. Any discussion?
I guess, thinking of this, when I saw it originally, I thought this is a good thing because the state medical examiner's coming up and he's looking to talk to these people about efficiencies in the medical examiner process in the Upper Peninsula. In our previous discussion in our workshop, that's the kind of thing that we need to be looking for. And this is a good thing. I appreciate that, so.
All right. Anyone else? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
The committee then reviewed the proposed administrative policy number 606 and limited English proficiency for all county programs, which will meet the required compliance per Executive Order 13166, which is a requirement by the USDA Rural Development to ensure service to all our citizens. It was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Johnson, to approve the administrative policy number 606, limited English proficiency for all county programs, interpretive services as presented to meet requirements of the USDA Rural Development. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported. And any discussion on that? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
We next look at York Risk Services and Workman's Comp request for safety policy and committee. Basically, we wanted to use industries accepted best practices to help reduce our liability and costs, and of course increase safety for our employees and the general public. As such, it was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Shackleton, to approve general policies number 607, safety policy and committee guidelines as recommended, following the risk management walkthrough by York Risk Services. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported. Is there discussion on that? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
We then had a lengthy discussion on benefits for Chippewa County Surveyor and Drain Commission, who are receiving full-time benefits and yet are only part-time positions paid for with part-time wages. We discussed eliminating all future benefits to these positions, as well as changing current benefits for prior part-time commissioners on a sliding scale until eliminated. We discussed fairness, we discussed cost savings. We were concerned, of course, with how it would affect these people's lives. And I think this is something we're going to continue to work on with a work session, possibly like we just had. Once we take a look at the cost-benefit analysis. Moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner McLean, to update policy regarding part-time elected officials as discussed, to be presented at the board meeting on a voice vote. That motion carried, and I would so move.
Okay, you don't have.
But hold it, but then we can discuss and.
Yeah, I'm just saying that motion was just to bring it to this board, so you don't really need to make that motion.
Okay,
because
so,
it's
all right.
for the board.
Because we're not moving forward with this at this point?
Well, actually,
Correct me if I'm wrong, or
the way that we left it, that I understood it, was that Kelly was going to try, and I was gonna try to help to take the consensus of the discussion, put it into a policy for us to discuss and vote, and potentially vote on here. That's, am I wrong? That's why, that's how I understood it.
That's why the policy is right behind the minutes.
And, there is a policy that, I did email, Kelly emailed to me, and I forwarded it on to all the other commissioners. That is a proposed, update to the part-time elected officials' benefits and compensation policy, number 123, it's on page 41. And that, again, is something that, we can deal with tonight or not. But, that was my understanding of how we were going to approach this. Pardon me? Yeah, and frankly, because of the dates of elections and those sorts of things, that does need to be dealt with probably either this meeting would probably be best, next meeting may be absolute deadline. And I think, the administrator had some reservations of whether that was too late, so, Commissioner McLean?
I would move that we adopt policy number 123 as presented about part-time elected officials' benefits and compensation.
Okay.
I thought this was going to the board, not in finance.
This is the board.
I know.
So we're making a motion that, how are we making a motion in the board when we're still reading the finance minutes? I'm just asking.
We do that all the time.
Okay, I just was making sure, because I wasn't ready to vote on this.
So is this in the form of a motion going to adopt this? That's gonna be a motion. Can there be another motion made?
Yeah, but first I need to see if there's gonna be a support, or this motion dies from lack of support. And I'll declare that the motion dies from lack of support. I don't have a problem with either other motions or vote, or further discussion at this time either. This, again, I think we all talked about this quite a bit, and it is a tough issue. It's a very tough issue.
Can I make a motion on this now?
You're free to, Commissioner.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion as of August 15th, 2016, no past, present, or future part-time elected officials will be eligible to receive health insurance and or retirement. And that's my motion.
I'll support.
All right, so there's a motion before us, and then we can discuss it. I'll start by telling you, it's not a legal motion. It's a legal motion, it's not a legal action. We can't do that. You can't legally take away health insurance from elected officials who have health insurance right now. You can't do that. There's a process that you have to follow through law, and this isn't following it, so.
How did we do it?
You can only do it starting on the next elected term.
Okay, then I have to change the date. The date can be changed to I'll reword that to January 1st of 2017.
Okay, so Connor, you were the support, were
Yep.
you not? Are you gonna continue to support?
Yes.
Amended, all right. And then, again, I just have to point out that if you have a person who is vested through MERS, and they get a retirement benefit, and there is no action that this board can take to take that away. Once you're vested, and that's law. So that you cannot take away a vested benefit.
Right, so now that we have, can we have some discussion on?
Yes, absolutely, let's discuss.
I understand that there's no way that we can take away that, past part-time elected officials' benefits, and I know that we can't, but, it is hard for me to stomach giving, a part-time elected official a huge retirement package or insurance when, some of the jobs, I'm not saying all of them, are barely part-time. It's one of those costs that, as we tighten the belt here at the county, I wish we didn't have. And it's something that a former commission stuck us with. So that's my objection to it.
Don?
In the original policy, the reason that I put it forward, there was no second on it, was that I think we were, in our discussion, we were looking narrowly at the drain commissioner and the surveyor. Okay? And the first paragraph of the previous policy that didn't get a second dealt with that. And then I read on farther and I got down to paragraph, the second to last paragraph, third paragraph down, I guess. And I had questions, and I actually sat down and wrote up another proposal. Came here and talked to Jim and talked to Kelly about it. And my concern was when you say part-time officials in that second to last paragraph, who does that include? Well, that includes, in my understanding, the drain commissioner and the surveyor. Okay? We already have a policy that affects the commissioners. So the commissioners, that's in place, we passed it before, it's gonna happen. It actually takes effect on the 1st of January this year, okay? Because that's the way you have to do it according to the rules. And so I felt safe that what we were doing in this policy 123, the one that I proposed, or that was written up and I moved, was that we were narrowing it down, saying, okay, these are the two people that we're concerned about and we're dealing with them. And the first part talks about anybody new. Well, we have a new drain commissioner coming in. So he's gonna just get his pay of $500 a year, okay? The last part is that we have a guy, the surveyor, who's been here 30-some years, 33 years? Okay. And he was hired and promised and that type of thing, and here he is. And I don't feel comfortable pulling the rug out from under him. The other thing that I'm concerned about is that if you go back and try to change things that had been passed before, years ago, we can all second guess things, okay? But this commission is not always gonna make, this group is not always gonna make the right choice. We make the right choice with the information we have at the time we have that decision to make. Things change. I'm not saying that the county commissioners and the other part-time people deserve that, but back when the decision was made to give them that, circumstances were different. And the commission weighed those circumstances and made those decisions. And I have a real problem with, after 33 years, to find out that we're gonna pull the rug out from under a guy who's given us good service. And I think that the policy that was proposed, 123, that I moved, adequately addresses that. I had concerns that part-time officials thing could encompass a bunch of other people. And that was my concern. And so, that's my, I think that the original policy that was proposed deals with the issue of the two people that we were concerned with.
Right, and let me just support you on that, Commissioner. The commissioner compensation policy is what, 121? Does that sound right, Kelly?
121 or 122 is right.
Yeah, I think it's 121. And this policy that Commissioner McLean's talking about really, well, it says right in, and it defines right in its title that it's regarding the drain commissioner and the county surveyor. That's on page 41, you know, and those are the only people that are being affected by the policy that Commissioner McLean has been discussing. And so we can, I don't know, revisit it, or?
Can we revisit it?
Can we,
Or do we have to do that in?
well, you know, it just died from lack of support. I think somebody else can make it, can't they?
I'll make it.
Okay, I think so.
Okay, no, we have a motion on the floor.
We have a motion,
should.
Well, we have
Oh,
motion on
yeah.
the floor.
Oh,
we
yeah,
have to
you're right,
vote on
I'm
it.
Vote on
sorry,
that
wait,
first.
yeah, absolutely, thank you,
Before
Commissioner
we
McLean.
do,
We already have a motion made by Commissioner Johnson and supported by
Support.
Commissioner Egan, and we need to deal with that motion first.
right, and I would like to clarify my position on that. I don't believe in just, I'm in favor of phasing out some of these benefits, but I'm not comfortable at all with January 1, all these people who had these benefits, they're just gone. You know.
Except the
we-
commission.
We talked, yeah, except, no, well, yes, and the road commission, but 80, you know, we talked about 80-20 in that meeting, we talked 90-10, we talked phasing out over 5 years, phasing out over 10 years. I think there's still a lot on the table we need to come back to, but I think Administrator German is correct in that we need to take care of this drain commissioner and whatever, and then maybe go back and take a look at it may be an 80-20 or maybe not, because, you know, like I said, we have to look at the cost benefit.
Okay.
Is it really worth all that grief to save the county
And-
5/100ths of 1% of the budget? You know, is it really worth it? But we certainly, going forward, need to put a lid on it. It's done, it's over with.
Oh, yeah.
We have $500 and that's it. So, we are gonna have to obviously vote on this. And, then we're gonna have to, go back to 1, 2, 3?
If that's the pleasure of the board.
and
Let me
I-
just add, real quick, can I ask, the clerk, do you have an understanding of what this motion is? That Rudy made?
A little,
Or do you want him to explain it?
I would have him
Okay.
explain it, cause I
Commissioner
think I do,
Johnson,
but I'm not sure I do.
I wanna just make sure that we know what we're voting on. Could you restate your motion?
I'm gonna find it again. It was as of January first, changed from August 2017, no past, present, or future part-time elected official will be eligible to receive health insurance and/or retirement.
Okay.
And I'd like to just clarify my point if I could.
Please.
I know we can't take it away from them. I don't actually want to take it away from them. What my objection is looking back on whenever they did this policy, that they didn't have the information we have. But yes, I am kind of second guessing them and saying it's a really hard pill to swallow to pay this money out for a position that, you know, does not garner what it is generating for these people.
Yeah,
So.
and I agree with you, Commissioner. I think that I've been all over the board on this one. I honestly have. I've
It's a
struggled
tough
with this a
one.
lot. And I think what I finally have come down to, at least right now, is that this board and this county traditionally has said, when we make changes, we make it to the people, the new people coming into the system, not the people already in the system. And, I'm kinda leaning that in the direction that that's the most fair way to do it. So, with that, we have a motion in front of us that needs to be voted on. Does anybody else have any discussion on that motion?
I guess to add what you have there is that, you can't go back, it just isn't fair to go back and second guess what the decision was made. So.
They're gonna
I'll
do it
call
to
the
us.
question. I'll call the question.
Let me just let, Administrator German, who wanted to make a point.
Just to clarify, because there's been a lot of talk, and I see sometimes people get confused on what the motions are. If you vote for this motion.
But it's not action.
If you vote yes, you're taking away somebody who worked for the county for 30 years, health insurance, as effective as of January. If you vote no, you're still getting what you're after, which is new people coming in and not having those benefits.
All right, with that, all in favor, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay.
Nay.
And the motion fails. And was that, just to be clear, was that a unanimous nay? I didn't hear any ayes.
I thought you were gonna do a roll call.
Oh, no,
Okay,
do
good.
you want me to record as an aye?
Yes.
Okay, so there's one aye. Are you an aye or a nay, Connor?
I'll be an aye.
Okay, so, 2 ayes, 1 nay.
Okay, then
Two ayes,
could I make,
two ayes,
Oh, I'm sorry,
Two ayes,
thank you.
3 nays?
2 ayes, 3 nays.
So then,
Commissioner
could I
Martin.
make a
No.
motion on 1, 2, 3?
Yes.
In
Now,
support
is
of,
it a point of order, can I make that motion again, or does somebody else
I
have
think
to?
somebody else should, because your motion failed. I'm
My
not
shot's
100%,
I'll make a motion, I'll make a motion
to be honest,
on
I'm
the-
not 100% sure.
I'll
on
support
1,
that.
2, 3.
I'll support that.
So the motion is made and supported to approve the policy 123 as modified and as before us. Is there any further discussion on that? All in favor, vote aye.
Right?
If you're opposed, vote nay.
Nay.
Motion carries with 1 nay. All right, now, again, this is from the finance minutes. Is there anything more we need to deal with here? I don't think so. I think you can resume your minutes.
Yeah, well, I just would like Administrator German, next finance meeting, I would still like to revisit this issue. If Kelly could make sure it's on the agenda. Revisit Commissioner Johnson's concerns about how we're gonna deal with this liability and exactly what it is going down the road. And not kick this thing down the can, or kick this can down the road. You know what I meant. Okay, here we go. Internal controls audit and efficiency study. We discussed this process in the approximate $20,000 to $50,000, and how the BOC would need to come up here for the specific set of questions. We're going to need to set goals. We're going to have a lot more discussion. The administrator spoke with auditors. This is going to be an ongoing discussion. Consequently, it was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Johnson, to schedule a workshop, which we did. And we had that in the district courtroom a couple hours ago, with an additional audit study to get the concerns and questions established on a voice vote. That motion carried. And do we need?
No.
Okay, I don't think so. Then Officer Stanaway addressed the committee regarding the resignation of Cody Mayer, who's going to join the Michigan State Police. The fact that we had to, because of time constraints and trying to avoid thousands of dollars in overtime, we need to fill this position and basically bypass Personnel Committee. Consequently, it was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Shackman, to accept the resignation of Corporal Cody Mayer, including Mr. Mayer's maintaining part-time status, to fill the corporal position through a promotion from within. I think that should be fill the full-time position with a 79-hour position, and fill a 79-hour position with the Chippewa Correctional Facility. And I would so move.
Motion made and supported to make those needed changes in the sheriff's department. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
All right?
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Committee then reviewed bills and payroll. Moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner McLean, to recommend the approval of July bills and payroll as follows. General claims totaling $325,695.41. Other fund claims of $421,000, $743.74. Payroll of $443,320.08. Health Department claims of $527,000.53 and 6 cents. Total claims of $1,717,812.29, and vouchers H1 through H266 on a voice vote. That motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported to pay the bills. Any discussion?
Yeah, this just goes to my point that we are not a small business.
In mind that we are indeed a small governmental entity.
As compared to other governmental entities, we're a small governmental entity. Compared to a small business, you're right, we're not a small business. Motion still before us. Is there any other discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
And at 3:15, we declared the meeting adjourned. I move that we accept the minutes of finance.
Well, there was a personnel matter on there.
Yeah, there was a personnel matter on that. Finance, claims, and accounts.
Motion made and supported to accept the minutes of the Finance, Claims, and Accounts Committee, August 8th, 2016. Any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We moved to item 12, Commissioner Report, meetings as a board commissioner, or any general comments. Commissioner McLean.
We've had an unusual meeting with public comment tonight. That was something else. And when Mr. Welsh got up here, I kind of figured out who he was until he mentioned his his name, as soon as he mentioned his name, I remember the issue. And, gonna be two things on this, they were both come out of public comment. The situation on the, 3 Mile Road is dangerous. I've driven by there and expected the signs to be changed. It's in my district, part of it is, the south side of the road's in my district. I think that it's, with the petition that they brought forward and the effort that he's put in it and the attempts we've made to do this, deal with this before, I would propose that we pass a resolution, put together a resolution to go to the road commission, and that this person could take this resolution to the road commission, the state police or whoever, and say that there's a dangerous situation there. It's not in our authority to deal with it, but it needs to be dealt with. Something needs to be done with this, and dump it on somebody else, because he's been here twice now at least. And I wasn't sure when it was, how many years ago, but you guys were here, everybody was
First
here.
meeting.
2 years ago.
So, I guess I would ask that, our administrator put together some kind of a resolution on that. And I don't know, do I have to make a motion for that?
No, I think they can do it, we'll have to vote on it eventually, so, yeah, why don't we do that?
Okay, the other thing is, the people in Rayburn Township. I became aware of this because I'm in regional planning, and the situation there is just, what's happening is completely unacceptable in my mind. It's just bizarre. Oh, Kelly?
I actually gave Mr. Welch's name to Jeff Hagan, earlier this week. It's a weird coincidence that he showed up because there is a committee, a rural safety meeting coming up on the 23rd, and I gave Jeff his name and address, and Jeff has sent him the packet to attend that meeting.
I've been to those meetings before, and I think that we still need to.
Resolution.
Yeah. Okay then, thanks Kelly, I appreciate that, and I saw that notice, and I should try to get there. Now back to Rayburn Township, I just think the situation there is completely unacceptable, and I think these people are floundering, looking for something to grab onto to move forward, and I think I would also suggest that we put together a resolution in support of what they're up to. I've been by there, I have a hunting camp out near there, I've got relatives out near there, and I was just shocked, because I know the area that you're talking about, that somebody would actually do that right where there's people. I mean, there's farmland, I know there's farmland around my place, out on 6 Mile, that this takes place, but it's farmland where nobody's around. And this fast tracking it and moving it a 30-day process that happens in 15 days or 13 days, and the notice, it's like the sewage, it stinks.
Yeah.
So I would say that we should put together a resolution relative to that also and support these people in this effort, because this is, like I said, it's completely unacceptable.
I just don't understand how anything moves through DEQ that quickly.
I don't
That's
either.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, that,
Rush.
yeah,
That's what we're like.
yeah, no,
I deal with these guys on a regular basis.
we should get him to put in our Attorney General request, because it's gonna take 6 months at least, you know?
So I guess I would propose that they put together a resolution
Sure.
again to throw the weight, which we don't have
Well,
much, the commission.
And I certainly agree, then, again, I think, if anybody objects, you know, I think you should say that I think that's the commission's intent, that the administrator is gonna be involved in exploring ways to help them, as well, you know, working with the health department, and if nothing else, make sure that it's done properly. I mean, again, I know that the goal here is to beat it, and I'm with you. But if nothing else, it sounds to me like they're getting all kinds of shortcuts and special considerations that is not proper. And you know, so the whole thing needs to be re-examined and figure out what the heck's going on here. So, part of that may be drawing up a resolution, and, you know, we can bring that forward too. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad you hit the 2 high points that I was gonna hit. You know, the Rayburn Township, was brought to my attention, last night, by chance at the end of my driveway when I met to meet a guy who told me about it, and it was the first I had heard about it, and I'm utterly shocked that anything that fast happened. Yeah.
I mean, nothing.
Nothing happens that quick, especially with the DEQ and sewage removal. Second, you hit my concern. I definitely think we need a resolution for 3 Mile. You know, he brings up a very good point, and as somebody who has been in a dump truck for the past week, 10 hours a day, you know, those speed limits, we automatically look at them and we automatically slow down when we see them, and it saves lives. Because a fully loaded tandem axle dump truck at 45 miles an hour does not stop when somebody comes out in front of you. 35, you got a hell of a lot better chance. So it's one of those things that it could save a life. So I would like to see this, you know, get moved along as quickly as possible.
If I can recall, and I don't always do that accurately, but if I recall, it seems to me that we were in contact with the state police, and we asked them to look at it, and they got back to us and said, we looked at it, and we think it's the right speed limit.
Yeah,
That's
you're
what I
exactly
recall.
right.
Yeah.
Well, if people travel that speed limit, it might be okay, but
10
normally
over.
if it says 40, you're gonna go
9.
60, and, that's the problem.
Okay, anything else? Motion to adjourn?
One other idea before we go there. If nothing else, if we can't do anything to speed limit, get some shoulders on that road. So people have some more time to react. I mean, if we can't change, because I think Chairman Shackleton, you're exactly correct, that state police said, no, that's what it should be. Then maybe we can talk to the road commission about making some improvements on that road. Maybe, you know, and I know they've made some right there at Seymour and 3 Mile, but give people a fighting chance to be able to, you know, evade a collision and you know, or have better sight lines. I mean, there are things that can be done to that road. If we can't do the speed limit, then we can try to make that road safer.
And if that means, you know, breaking up with a few more 4-way stops, I'd be for that too. It's a heck of a lot harder to get going 10 miles over the speed limit when you've got to stop in a quarter of a mile.
Or let it get so bumpy you can't drive over 30 on it.
We don't have to do
Just
anything.
make it a poorly maintained gravel road. Slow 'em right down.
But our Tony agreed at one time.
All right.
I
anything
will
else?
make a motion to adjourn,
All right.
sir.
Support.
Motion made and supported that we adjourn. All in favor?
All right.
If you're opposed, vote nay. This meeting is adjourned.